Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, people. Make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. We're trying to hit 1K this year and we are very close to 700 subscribers, people. Obviously, I had to do a video on this. I had to. I was always going to do a video on this anyway, but me being a West Ham fan, obviously I was going to react to this, react to David Moyes returning to Everton and giving you my thoughts on it. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Obviously, Sean Dyche got sacked the other day, and obviously this was always in mind, but I didn't actually think they were going to do it. I wasn't completely ruling it out, but it was a case of sacking Dyche for Moyes kind of makes sense and kind of doesn't at the same time. I believe the sacking Dyche was the right decision. Um, I know a lot of people like to tell Everton fans and mainly to fans outside of the Big Six what to think about their own club because they think they know everything about clubs outside the Big Six, even though they don't. They definitely don't. Uh, and I sympathise with Everton fans because I had this when we were complaining about David Moyes. Funny enough, people like to tell us what we should think and what do West Ham fans want. Well, if you actually listen to a West Ham fan, maybe you know. But uh, there was also this narrative again on the Restless Football podcast, which is a good podcast, but when they actually talk about for clubs outside the Big Six, as much as we feel like we should get talked about a lot more. Maybe it's a good idea that we don't get talked about because they have no like pundits in general have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to clubs outside the Big Six. The narratives are genuinely insane because they try to pin the same narrative on Everton fans about they just wanted better football. No, it's not just that. The football isn't effective. They haven't scored. They scored one goal in 5 games or something like that. Like as much as results against City, Chelsea, and Arsenal are good results as a draw, you can say that for a team battling relegation. Yes. However, if you look at the games against Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, if you're going to not win against the big sides, you got to win against the small sides, which is what I said about West Ham. And they lost to Nottingham Forest and lost to Bournemouth. They didn't score a goal against either of them. And people could be like, but Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest are both two teams that are up there as well. So what? Well, it means you can't score against them. Don't get me wrong, are the players great? No, but they could get more out of the players than what Dyche was getting out of. This guy was the same guy that said Iliman and Ndiaye is not a number 10. Don't get me wrong, I think Moyes is the kind of guy to play Iliman and Ndiaye on the wing as well, because I saw this guy play Fornals on the wing. I saw this guy play Paquetá on the wing. I saw this guy even play James Ward-Prowse on the wing for West Ham. On the left wing, not even a right wing, left wing. However, uh, square pegs and round holes is what new David Moyes is like. I do think this is half logical, half emotional sort of appointment from Everton, where I feel like a lot of the things that they were complaining about with Dyche, I don't think Moyes is going to solve. But I do think that a new voice will set these players off in terms of when you when you watch them, they're going to look a lot better and a lot happier because they've got a new voice. As much as maybe some of the players, I don't know whether they were doubting tools. I can't really tell as a West Ham fan whether they were doubting tools under Dyche. It kind of just looked like an ordinary Sean Dyche team to me. Um, but I think the players are going to naturally like a new voice. We've seen this happen before with Everton when they hire new managers, and obviously Moyes is going to need players. Even though Moyes, by the way, likes a small squad and doesn't really like to spend, and also likes to take over when he's at the club. He likes to be the guy who identifies players. He goes to scout players himself. He likes to go into other stadiums and watch. You don't really see managers do that anymore because they're just coaches now. They're just head coaches, really, even though they're labelled as managers. But Moyes is everything. Moyes is an old school manager, as Everton fans know more than anyone else. Um, Obviously, it's not the same era as Tim Cahill, Stephen Pienaar, Marwan Fellaini, etc. But I feel like some players can benefit from David Moyes going back to Everton, like a Decore. I think you get Decore back on form. A Beto, I actually think Beto would benefit quite a lot under David Moyes. A striker that sometimes likes to run the channels. I think he could benefit from that. I think Moyes will play a 4-2-3-1. I think he'll play a 4-2-3-1. Um, that seems to be his go-to formation. Sometimes he'll probably go five in the back, depending on the opponent, but you will still be playing football sitting back. It won't be playing on the front foot. I think everyone knows that. It will still be sitting back. It will still be defensive and stuff like that as well. it's still going to be a case of someone like a Jared Brantford and Tarkowski. I think they're two players that he'll like. If you could get a Decore on form, maybe he could be like maybe a more advanced Thomas Suchek. I feel like a team under David Moyes, maybe right winger. You need a right winger, in my opinion, for me to really say who's going to play where. Because I'd imagine Iliman and Dio will still play on the left, and Decore will play maybe as the number 10, almost as the late arrival uh, midfielder that goes into the box and stuff just behind the striker. Don't really know who's going to play on the right wing. I don't think Everton really have a right winger from what I remember. Dwight McNeil and Harrison play on the left usually. I know Harrison's played off the right before for Everton, but he's better off the left. He's not really that good in general. I don't even know if Harrison's still there. I'll be real. Um, but he'll like a Patterson. He will like Everton's defenders for the most part. I mean, he wanted Michael Keane at West Ham. He wanted Tarkowski at West Ham. Uh, God forbid he still plays Michael Keane. But Jake O'Brien, uh, was it this year? Oh no, to be fair, we was interested in Jake O'Brien under Lopetegui, to be fair. So I don't know whether, I mean, he'll probably still play him now and then if Tarkowski or Bradford get injured, but he'll probably like the squad because their squad is old. I'm just being real. Their squad is old and it lacks, and it doesn't really have much pace. That's a David Moyes squad. That's a modern day David Moyes squad. Forget all the pace. Just got to have players that don't really have that much technical ability, but that are brutes. That are just mad brutes. Like it's not really a side that has much technical quality apart from like maybe like a Tim Burnham's really good on the ball. Gardner Gay's good on the ball. Like James Garner's okay, but Branthwaite's really good on the ball. To be fair, you'll love Jordan Pickford. You'll love Jordan Pickford. That Pickford's a good keeper for Everton anyway. It gets too much hate in my opinion for Everton, and he's a decent keeper overall. Um, maybe overplays too much. Maybe his head goes a bit too much. However, he'll still like him as an old school keeper. It's a very David Moyes squad already. It's just lacking that right winger. If I'm thinking where will Moyes take them, I think he can maybe get them into like at the top of the bottom half of the table, but I don't think he's going to take another team into Europe again. Just being real with it. People be like, well, his last season he finished ninth with West Ham. I've said this millions of times to people. We won 4 games in the last 6 months of the season. It was very much because we won quite a lot of games at the start of the season, and we was going to be a natural dip anyway. We were still getting battered when we lost. When we lost bad, and we didn't have that many good performances where we was going to be a consistent team throughout the season and stuff like that. So I think Everton fans just want some form of stability for now. I think. I can't speak for them. I don't know whether this is their manager to keep them stable until they've got the new stadium and stuff. So when they kick on, they can get a manager that's maybe younger, more inspiring, wants to play on the front foot and all that stuff. I don't really know what direction this ownership actually wants to go in, but I do think it's a good appointment. It will keep them stable. We get the crowd on side, and they'll back him. Goodison Park will be a tough place to go again, in my opinion. And to be fair, it's always been a tough place, even when they were awful. It was always a tough place for West Ham. I know we won there last season, but I'm never like going to Goodison Park. I'm definitely not going to like West Ham going to Goodison Park for the very last time this season because David Moyes against West Ham. That's going to be a headline that the media are going to love. Put it this way, the English media are going to love Everton again because much as they probably hate them for sacking Sean Dyche, even though it was very well deserved, they're going to love them again for hiring David Moyes. So there you go. Make sure to leave a like on the video, people. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. My social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. Any email for any inquiries. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.